Last week I had a stream and we were looking at the ePaper tags. Gateway, access point, how to hook everything up, and also how to get everything connected inside Home Assistant. Today we'll be looking at exactly that. Video on how you can implement e-tags or e-paper tags inside your Home Assistant, but not just inside Home Assistant. We'll start in couple of seconds. What is OpenEPaper Link, Gateway Access Point, and what are the tags? Some of you may have seen those tags inside shops. They are price tags that usually show static data. They are awesome because they can be synchronized wirelessly, but they are not using classical Wi-Fi protocol. The next good thing about them is that since this is ePaper, they are really not power hungry. You can have one tag and the batteries can last up to a couple of years. Next great thing about them is that they come in different sizes and shapes and colors. And when I say colors, I'm not talking here about the box of the device itself, but yes, some can have multiple colors, others can have only black color, and even there are some that support RGB colors. Today we will be looking at the package I got from Tindie, and I was waiting for the order for that package for almost 2 months. I bought this kit from Nick, and I ordered pre-assembled kit. That time it was also possible to order tags. Unfortunately, as far as I know, Nick is out of tags. But there are other companies, sellers, eBay sellers, and also community members that are selling the tags. So go out on the Discord server. The link to the Discord server of this community will be down in the video description, and grab some tags. On the other hand, hurry up. Nick has decided that he will not be producing those gateways anymore. If you want to grab the last gateway or access point that Nick will be selling on his Tindie shop, go sign up for the waiting list, and when Nick sees that there are enough people, 100 plus people, he will build another batch and it usually sells in around a couple of hours. You may wonder if it's worth having e-tags. E-tags are better, in my opinion, than those normal displays. Unfortunately, no, they do not have touchscreen, but also, in my personal opinion, smart home should be controlled by smart things, not displays, because if you are using touchscreen, you are just replacing button on the wall or switch on the wall with a touchscreen display, and that's not the point of smart home system. If you have some use cases where you want to present the data, for example in bathroom, you can have display showing you the schedule for today. In kids' room, they can see what they are having today in school. In kitchen, you may be monitoring the temperature of the fridge and freezer, etc., etc. It's all up to you to be as creative as you can. And this gateway, combined with Home Assistant and tags, will allow you to display any information you want. But you have to be careful because the screens can be small, cheap, but also big and very, very, very expensive. If you want to check out the stream where we unboxed, powered on for the first time those devices and play with them, the link to the stream will be up here. Now let's jump into the configuration and installation of those devices. If you have bought pre-flashed, pre-assembled kit, the only thing that you need to do is to provide power to it via the USB-C cable. Next thing is connect to it via the access point it created, click on it, select from the list your home Wi-Fi network, or type in the name, SSID, type in the password, then type in the IP address or future IP address of this gateway, your local network netmask, gateway, and the DNS server address. That's it. Save the configuration and you are ready to connect to it via the web browser. You should see a screen like this. We already have one tag. This tag actually is not a tag, that's the access point, but some of the access points are actually built with tags inside. This one is using TFT screen, but others are using screens from the tags. So the tag number one is actually access point itself. Let's go to list of tags. We have here one. If we click on it, we can give it an alias, and we can also select if it will be pushing static image or showing you access point information. Then we have information about the access points that are active. If you want, and also if your access point supports it, you can flash devices directly from the access point. Automatic flash or command line flashing, with hints on what commands and what attributes can you use. Plus you have option to power on or power off. But since I don't have any tags that I can flash right now, let's go to configuration menu. Here you can set configuration options such as alias of the access point, frequency or channel it is using. You can leave it at automatic. Bluetooth is it disabled, enabled. RGB lights, you can make them brighter or dimmer. TFT brightness, by default it's at 100%, I've lowered it to 75%. Then we have neat option to suspend updates between whatever time and whatever time you select. For example, I've set it between midnight and 6 a.m. I don't want to have any updates. You can specify if you want to see preview images or not. I will show you, and this is really neat functionality of this access point, and I was really happy to see it. You can lock the tag inventory, no, lock so that no new tags can be added, and learning mode that new tags that have just freshly booted can be added to the database. I'm leaving it at no. Wi-Fi power and your local time zone. When you satisfy the settings, click Save. And you also have option to manage the device. You can reboot access point, you can download TagDB, and yes, TagDB is exactly what the name says. Database with tags, probably with the MAC addresses, information about tags, settings for tags, etc. Then you have option to restore TagDB from file and also restore from the last autosave version. You can update the firmware and you can do Wi-Fi configuration, which actually is the same screen we used when we firstly configured the access point. And last but not least, we have some kind of logging where you can see some of the log information. Let's go back to tags and let me add batteries to some of them. Unfortunately, also adding batteries is not that simple. It's not like you add one battery then the other. No. First make sure that the tag itself is depleting by reversing the battery and leaving it there reversed. That way it will empty if there is any electricity still in the capacitors or whatever. Remove the battery, take the lid, and then position the batteries the way they will be going inside the tag. Then carefully just close it in, and if everything is correct, you should see something like this and the tag will start the pairing or booting process. And in a couple of seconds, we should see new tag added here. This is the tag ID, last seen 5 seconds ago, and this was the first boot. You have information about the channel, the strength of the signal, the voltage of the batteries, the screen size, pixels, and the firmware version. I will click on that, name the tag bedroom, and here you can already specify type of the content. We have option to specify static image, current date, count days, count hours, current weather, weather forecast, map, etc. For this, let's say current weather. Type in the location, select it from the list, and click Save. Now it will say when the update will be pushed. Expect it is to push it in 25 seconds. And the information was pushed, the screen has updated, and inside the access point you can also see the preview image. Let me quickly repeat that for some other tags. I think that this one has very low battery. Same as this one, because this one I wasn't able to boot. So I have to buy two new CR2450 batteries for them. But on the other hand, we do have one new tag that says waiting for data. If we click on it, we can give it a name. We'll call this one bathroom. Content for this one will be weather forecast, my location, and save. We should see update here saying that the next update will be pushed in 21 seconds, and this screen here should be updated with the weather forecast. As you can see, you can already use those tags even without Home Assistant. Home Assistant will add an extra layer on top of it, where you can push data from Home Assistant there, but also it will allow you to track those tags inside Home Assistant. You will receive information both from the access point and the tags itself. For example, for access point, the IP address, the database size, etc., etc. For the tags, the screen size, the battery information, and once again, etc., etc. But we are still not done with the access point itself. You can actually do one nice trick, and that is to push the image or drag and drop image directly to the tag. Let me show you how to do that. Find an image that you want to add, it can be PNG or JPEG, and just drag it and drop it on the UI. the image will be automatically converted. You will see notification that it will be updated in how many seconds it will be updated. And if we wait long enough, the update will be pushed to the tag and we should see now image that we just dragged and drop on the tag itself. Sure, these are not perfect displays. They have a very low resolution, but still you can push some of the images. And remember that some support multiple colors. For example, if you check this one here, you can see that some of the numbers or letters are in the red. Okay, but now let's talk about adding this to our Home Assistant. It's really easy to add it, and you actually only need one variable, and that is the IP address of the access point. Go to your instance of Home Assistant. You need to have Hex already installed, and installing Hex is really breeze. I've done tons of video on that, so I will not be repeating it. Just go to your Hex, Integrations, Explore and Download, and type in Open. Click on Open ePaper Link, download. At the time of the recording, the latest version is version 0.4.7.8. Download, and we will need to restart Home Assistant. Now that it has finished rebooting, let's go to Settings, Integrations, click on Add Integration, type in Open, select Open ePaper Link, and we will need to specify just one thing. As I said, that's the IP address. 192.168.121 is my IP address. Submit. Select area. For me, this is loft. And click Finish. That's it. If we now go to integration, we click on it, and it will take some time for all the entities to get populated. Also, automatically, all of the tags will also be added under this integration. After some time, you should see more devices here. It all depends on how many tags you have. Out of 6 devices that you see here, 4 are tags. All are now working because I replaced that batteries. One additional is access point tag, and the 6th one is the access point itself. Let's look. As I said, I have tag bathroom, bedroom, corridor, and kitchen. We have access point, and this tag here is actually display on the access point. Let's start by looking at access point. We have information about database size, free heap, free space, IP address, record count, run state, system time, and information about the signal quality. Then we have linked devices. These are the tag or display itself plus 4 tags. Let's click on first tag. This one is not very interesting to us because it's just a display on the access point. But for example, this tag here, we can see the battery state, battery voltage, capabilities of the device. We have content. This is actually generic camera. And when I click on it, I can see the display, what is pushed to the device itself. Then we have when it was last seen, link quality, next check-in, next update, pending transfer, is there pending transfer or not, and once again the information about the Wi-Fi quality of signal, temperature, and reason why it was awakened. For the bedroom goes the same thing, except this one has very low battery and we have different content. But one warning, if we compare this device, kitchen, the content is empty, with this device, bedroom, which does have some kind of content. The reason for that is that I am here pushing content from Home Assistant to those devices. So this is a preview of what Home Assistant is pushing to exactly that device. Now we have access points working, we have tags that are connected to access point, and we have Home Assistant connected to tags via the access point. But how do you push content from Home Assistant? With the integration we just installed, there are a couple of new service calls. But I would recommend, also documentation and author would recommend to only use one of them. The other ones are leftovers from old times and will be deprecated, or they are already deprecated and will be removed in the future. So let's start with a couple of ready-made scripts that we can pull from the GitHub and install inside our Home Assistant. These are the scripts that we also used on the stream. Chunky Stevo has a GitHub repository, and thank you Steven for attending the stream and helping out with those scripts. He has 2 ready-made scripts that we can use. Actually, content on one of my tags currently is from the stream leftover, and the other one is this one here. So let's start with the simplest one. We will be working with this Christmas countdown. Let's go inside. We just need to download and copy this TTF or font file directly inside the media folder on Home Assistant, and then we have to copy this automation here. It's very straightforward. Let's download this font. If you are using Visual Studio Code, go to Visual Studio Code, check that you have media folder inside your Home Assistant. This instance doesn't have it, so I'll create new folder, call media, and inside that folder I will just drag and drop the file we just downloaded from the internet. That's it. Next thing we will do is go to automation file, the YAML file, copy the code here, and inside Home Assistant, click on Create Automation, create new automation, click on three dots, edit in YAML, select all, and paste the code we just copied. This one doesn't need anything extra from integrations or sources, but you will have to change one thing. Go to the bottom of the file, and you will have to replace this entity ID, open_ePaper_ link. This is the ID of the device itself. You cannot use here the entity name, you have to use this code. Let's, for example, go for kitchen one, and here we have serial number. We will copy it and paste it in our automation. Click on Save. Let's rename it. And this is how it looks if you are not using YAML editor. Each day, 5 minutes after midnight, it will trigger and call service OpenEPaper Link to draw custom image. And this is the serial number of the tag we'll be using. Let's click Save and let's click Run. We can see that our kitchen device is pending update. There is one pending update. It's now getting update, and the screen just changed to 249 days till Christmas. If we go in Home Assistant and look at the camera for this tag, we can see the image that was just pushed. This should give you overview of what the tags are capable to do. Let's look at another example. If we go to HA Weatherman, we can see that this one is a little bit more complex. There are a couple of predefined templates, depending on the size. Is it 1.54, 2.9 or 4.2 size of the tag? We have once again the font, which we already copied, and we have configuration file that we need to insert inside our Home Assistant. This is the part where I was struggling on the stream. Actually, I was not struggling. My configuration is split one, and this one didn't support split configuration. So at the end, I just removed the part of the code that was messing things up, and it was working well. Let's start with the configuration. You need to make sure that you already have OpenEPaper Link Home Assistant installed via HACS or HACS, which we did. Then you need to make sure that you have weather information, for example, from met.no. You need to have enabled moon phases and sun phases or sun sensor. If I go into my integrations page and type met, we can see that I have met.no. I also have sun and moon already installed. If you do not have met, moon or sun installed, just click on add integration, type in, click on it and install it. That should be it. Next we need to copy this code here. Ctrl A, Ctrl C, and we need to paste it inside our configuration YAML file in the template section. My configuration YAML file is using for the template external templates YAML file. Since I just renamed it, I will create a new one, templates.yaml, and inside of it I will paste the code that I just copied. This will create a new sensor called Weatherman, and this sensor is used to pull the information from the system and then relay it to the tag. If you have too many weather integrations and you are having issues with the newly created sensor, you can copy the weather integration name here. For example, I'll be using weather home, and then instead of this code here, just paste the name that you've copied. I will also change one additional value here. Currently it is using time pattern /15, so that every 15 minutes it updates the sensor. But because I'm doing recording and I want things to speed up, I will replace this with just 1, so it updates the sensor values every 1 minute. If we go to developer tools, click templates, it should update the template sensors. But this sometimes may not work, especially if you have just recently created a sensor. So you may restart your Home Assistant for the template sensor to start picking up the data. Now that system has rebooted, let's go to states, and we can see that the Weatherman sensor or Weatherman data tag is filled with data. Let's click on it. We have moon phases, temperature, sun rising, sun setting, etc, etc. Since this part is ready, now we can create the last thing, and that is the automation. As we mentioned previously, the automation depends on what size of the tag you are using. Size of the tags I have are the 2.9, so I will click on 2.9 automation, copy the code, Ctrl A, Ctrl C, And in Home Assistant, under Automations, I will create automation, new automation, 3 dots, edit in YAML, select everything, and paste the code. Once again, here we have to change a couple of things. I will change one thing that is mandatory, and these are the links or the MAC addresses of the tags. But besides that, I will also change the update time. It is currently set to update every 20 minutes. Once again, I will set it here to 1. You do not need to do that, but since I want to speed up the things while recording, I'm changing that to just 1 minute. This time I will be using corridor. I will copy the serial number, copy, and paste it here. I will only be pushing it to one tag, but as you've seen, you can have multiple tags and push the same content to multiple tags. Click on Save, Rename, and that's it. I'll click on 3 dots, Run, and if everything goes well, we see here information that this corridor tag will be updated in 1 second. Yes, it has been updated and it pulled the latest weather information from Home Assistant. Let's check the automation once again. Every minute, this is only pushing updates between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. Then we would call this service, open ePaper Link draw custom with the following data. And this is the data that we are pushing. That is actually the current weather information, next couple of hours of weather information, and next couple of days. And everything is pushed to this tag here. Okay, now that we've seen a couple of tags or a couple of automations and how they look, it's time for us to create our own automation. After using those 2 examples, now let's play with our own code. For that, we will once again go back to the Hex component we installed previously, open ePaper Link Home Assistant, scroll down, and we will copy this example code just for us to have something to work with. Let's click on Copy, let's go to Services, and we will paste the code here. If we paste the code, convert it to the UI, we can see that we are using draw custom image function or service call. That is a new service call that was installed with this Hex component. We now have to choose a device or entity. For example, let's use bathroom. And this is the code or rest of the code that was copied from the GitHub repository. First, it is defining the background. It can be either white or black or even red. Then we are rotating the screen 270 degrees. And later we have payload. First, it is creating rectangle that is outlined red, fill is white, width, the line width is 5 pixels, starts at x coordinates 10, y coordinates 10, and ends at x coordinates 185 and y coordinates 240. Then it's drawing one line, starting at 0 by 237, then ends at 126 by 240. Then we have the next set of instructions. To create text field, value is hello world. It will type in hello world by using this font on these coordinates. Font size is 40 pixels, color will be red. And the last part is the icon. It is using this icon here. This is the material design icon set, so you can use any icon you want, again on these coordinates. Let's try this one. Let's press call service. We see that something has changed here, but also you can see that this render doesn't fit nicely our screen. Let's go back and play with the code. Next, let's see how it works without the rotate. And in the preview, we see that it looks like this now. Okay, much better because we can see the whole text, but still this box is not right and we are not seeing the icon. Let's change this width to only 1 pixel. And let's say that it ends at 100 by 180. And size of the icon will be 40, for example, and color will be black. Call service. This is the preview inside Home Assistant. We can see only part of the cowboy hat. Let's once again tweak it. After changing some more, let's call service. And so on, you can play until you achieve the design that you want. Give me a couple of seconds until I pull some sensor data and present some sensor data on this device. After playing with the code for a couple of minutes, this is what I've created. Let's go through the code. First, I'm creating a rectangle, a red one, that gives nice thin border on the display. Then, for each line, I start with the icon, the red icon. This one is heart pulse. And after that it is followed by text heart rate with the sensor data of heart rate. Since the size of the font is 16, I decided that 2 pixels is enough for the next line. First line starts at Y10, the next line starts at Y28, that's 16 plus 2. Then we have once again the icon, name of the variable, and then the variable from Home Assistant. Third time, once again, the icon, name of the sensor data, then the sensor data. Then I've added one thin black line. 3 pixels under it, we have again new icon, steps daily, the name of the value, and then the value itself, followed by one another icon and then another sensor data. It may not look like it is easy, but it's actually very easy to create your own screen. And the fun part, of course, is that you can use a generic camera so that you can preview how data will look on the tag itself. After a couple of seconds or minutes, this depends on how you set the updates for the tags, this will be pushed to the tag. Now I have live data. This data is pulled from the Google Fit, that's synced with my watch, pulled into Home Assistant, and then this data from Home Assistant is pushed to tag. And as I said, it's really easy for you to create your own designs. You just have to play a bit with the code. All the links to everything, of course, will be once again in the video description. I will also be leaving a link to this Tindie shop where you can submit your email address to get notified when the next, and this will be last batch of those gateways, will be created. While the gateways themselves are not that complicated in terms of components and PCB, it costs a lot Nick to produce, so the minimum quantity he is producing is 100 gateways. As soon as there are 100 people submitting their email addresses and in the queue, he will produce one last final batch. If you yourself have not managed to get one from the Nick while he was selling them, yes, there are also alternatives. You may have to dig a bit around, or you can also try and build your own gateway. On the main repository, there are a couple of designs that you can try and use, solder your own access point with the gateway, and you will be good to go. The next issue, of course, is sourcing the tags themselves. You can usually find them on the eBay. But be careful, currently not all types of the tags are supported. For that, I suggest that you go on a Discord server and there ask question if the tag that you found is supported by this gateway or not. Currently, Bluetooth tags are not supported. There are some issues with the firmware, but hopefully in the near future those will be supported, and those tags, on the other hand, are much more easily available on the market. I am really enjoying playing with the tags, and I will be getting more of them. I'm even considering to get additional gateway to use it at another location. Plus, I also want to try different sizes of the tags, smaller and bigger ones. I really do hope that you did find this video useful, and if you did like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you have any kind of comment or question, please drop it down in a comment section below. For all the links, once again, go to the video description and hopefully you will find the link that you want there. I must also say thanks to all those wonderful people from OpenEPaper Link community on the Discord server that joined my last stream and that were assisting and helping and cheering through my tumbling process. Thank you. Before I end up the video, I also must say thanks to all those wonderful people that are supporting me, that have become YouTube channel members. Thank you all for all of your support. But let's not forget each and every one of you who has watched, liked, subscribed, chatted, or shared my videos. Thank you. If you too want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button down below and becoming a YouTube channel member for only €2 or $2 per month. Or you can go to my merchandise store and get something there. Last but not least, you can always send me super thanks, and I will be super thankful for that. I'll be seeing you next time. Until then, bye bye and have fun.